In the first match of the Serie A season for AC Milan, they lose to newly promoted Cremonese. This was a shock to everybody. I was watching this game live and I couldn't believe my eyes. It was the same Milan team from last season. And today I got my Milan jersey on. I know it's crazy with having the Inter jersey in the back, the Roma jersey in the back, but I'm just a fan of the Serie A. There's no affiliation to any of these teams. I just enjoy watching the league. Going back to the game, man, this is a crazy result for Cremonese. They just got promoted into the Serie A, and to beat Milan, not only that, but to face Milan in your first game back in the Serie A in the San Siro, and to beat them 2-1, and honestly, they were probably the better team that whole game. Yes, Milan had more shots, had more chances, had more possession, more passes completed, but none of those were really useful. You know, it was more just passes back to back. They played it out wide. The winger can't get past the defender. They play it back inside. They switch the field. They do it again. They switch the field. They pass it back to the defenders, and it just starts. I can't say how many times Pulisic or Salamakers or Alex Jimenez or Chukwueze when he came on were doing the exact same play every single time. They would get the ball from Fofana, Modric in the midfield. They would play it to him, try to get past the defender. They couldn't do it, just pass it back. They would switch it to the other winger, maybe put in a measly cross, and it wouldn't amount to anything. It was just a whole lot of nothing from Milan. But shout out to Cremonese. I want to give more of a highlight on them. Being newly promoted into the league, beating Milan in the San Siro is something that, and I think after the match, they were saying it was the first time they've ever beat Milan, which is crazy, man. Congrats to them. When it comes to Cremonese, obviously, I don't know too much about their players, but one player that definitely stood out for me was their center back. I believe he was their captain as well. He scored a great goal off a great cross in the 28th, 29th minute. You can tell he's the heartbeat of this team. He's a real captain. Whole game, Bashirotto, he was leading the line. He was the main voice, the main energy in the squad, and he was everything you want in the captain. And I'm glad he was able to get his goal. And man, he was doing a great job defending as well. He did a great job shutting down Santi Jimenez. Nothing was getting past him. He was being the voice in the back as well, making sure everyone's organized. It was a real captain's performance from Bashirotto. I got to make sure I say his name right. Milan, obviously in the first half, they kept the ball. They had most of the possession, but it was mainly meaningless possession, like I said before. But just before the end of the half, they were able to get a goal through their center back, Pavlovic. It may or may have not been a foul. I don't think it was a foul. Salamakers was getting past his defender. His defender ended up challenging him, but he kind of stumbled on his own feet. Salamakers kept on going. The ref didn't call anything. He said, play on. Estupiñán made an overlapping run behind him. The pass was played perfectly. He wasn't offside. Estupiñán chipped the ball over to the back post, just waiting for someone to get on the end of it. And luckily, Pavlovic was there. He was the biggest man in the box. He was an easy header. After Milan's goal, the first half ended shortly after. Kind of felt like, okay, Milan's going to get back into this game. They're going to be able to break down Cremonese, especially since it's tied now. You know, Cremonese might have to, they might not be able to stay in their low block as much. That was not the case. The second half started, and it was very similar to the same thing. Cremonese kept their low block. AC Milan was having meaningless possession. But one player I do want to give a shout out to is Luka Modric, one of the best midfielders of all time. Obviously, nobody ever doubts his quality, but being 39 years old and still having that much quality, you know, the saying is, no matter how old you get, the quality never goes away. And Luka Modric is a perfect example of that. In my eyes, he was by far Milan's best player, maybe Salamakers and maybe Pulisic, because they were like the only ones kind of pulling the strings, trying to make something happen. But Modric, his quality is just undeniable. And obviously, I'm not trying to put down the rest of the Milan team, but you can tell he still needs to like find a connection with his teammates. He was trying to play certain through balls or take up certain spaces, and it just wasn't connecting between him and the forward line. There's many times where he tried to play Santi Jimenez into space and Santi didn't make the run. There was many times when he was trying to do some link-up play with Fofana, his center mid partner, and it just wasn't working. And it was just I came away from that game like, wow. And when they took him out, obviously he's 39. But when they took him out, I was just like, man, you're taking out your best player in this match today. And obviously, he was the best player on the field at 39 years old. Class is permanent, man. But when they took him out, I'm like, oh, man. And obviously, you don't want to compare him because he's one of the GOATs. He's one of the GOATs. But even at 39 years old, he's still better than any of Milan's midfielders. I was just like, man, Modric was like, I went from playing with Cruz, Casemiro, Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Valverde, and now I'm playing with Fofana. Like, come on, man. But they ended up taking Luka Modric out. And I feel like Milan lost an important dynamic once Luka Modric went out. Moving back, enough of the Modric clays, even though he deserves it. Cremonese scored a banger, and I mean a banger. They played it out to the left back. He put a great cross in to the back post, and the striker Bonazzoli scissor kicked it into the bottom corner. Mike Nyan couldn't do anything about it. It was a great finish. I was just like, that's one of those goals that you just gotta applaud, man. It's just quality, and the Cremonese's attacking players, they honestly really surprised me. They were honestly better than Milan's attacking players. And Bonazzoli's goal is evidence of that. It was a banger, man. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch the highlights of this game. You won't be disappointed. That is going to be one of the goals of the season in the Serie A. For sure. Now, after that goal, I said to myself, I'm like, is it going to end 2-1 or is Milan going to be able to come back? And in my mind, I'm like, I think it's going to end 2-2. I don't think Cremonese is going to be able to hold on until the end of the match. And I think Milan's going to be able to break them down at least one more time. Maybe might be off a corner, off a set piece, but I think they're able to get one back. But time kept on ticking. Milan wasn't really creating anything. There were some half chances. There were some penalty shouts. I remember they fouled Ruben Loftus-Cheek in the box, and it was a soft penalty, but I could have seen it being given. Nonetheless, the final whistle blew, and Cremonese defeated Milan. It was great seeing the joy in the Cremonese players' faces and the coaches. You can tell they really wanted this win. And for them to start out their Serie A campaign like this, man, I hope they're able to stay up this season. Kudos to them. They deserve that win for sure. When it comes to Milan, I don't know where they go from here. Obviously, it is the first game of the season. It might just be one little blunder, but this Milan and the way they play, it's kind of similar to the end of last season. Last season, they finished 7th or 8th, and it was a very disappointing season. Hopefully, the same form where they ended last season on does not continue into this season. We'll see if they're able to pick it back up in the second Serie A match. This was not a very good outing. They did not look convincing at all. They did not look like somebody who's going to compete for the Champions League places in Serie A this season. Or not even the title. Don't even get that. I think they might finish around a similar spot as they did to last season, just outside of Europe. Because this Milan team is not good. The build-up play is not good. The attacking play is not good. The defenders, it's the first game of the season. But if I were to give players like Pavlovic, they need to do better. Players like Santi Jimenez, they need to do better. Players like Ruben Loftus-Cheek, I swear he was playing against them. They might as well have been playing with 10 players the whole game because Ruben Loftus-Cheek was not doing anything, man. That was bad. That was a bad performance. Obviously, I don't know if they're going to be able to sign any more players before the end of the transfer window. But this team is not good enough to compete with the likes of Inter or Napoli. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more game reviews, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.